Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call this meeting to order for the Polk County Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, November 25th, 2025. All commissioners are present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is your moment to shine. This is the public comments portion of our meeting. If y'all have anything that you'd like to say to the Board of Commissioners, now is your time. You'll be on camera, you'll be recorded for the world to see. YouTube is extremely accessible. Pressure. Anyone. Best opportunity I've had all year, probably. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Next up is approval of the agenda.
Also move. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Approval of minutes of October 28th.
I'll move approval. I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Passed unanimously. Star Recognition Award. This is for Heath, Amber, Robin, and Jake. So who's going to lead this? Am I leading it? I'm not doing it. Oh, I have a whole, yes, sorry. I didn't read this ahead of time. I may stumble a little. The Board of Commissioners and staff would like to recognize Heath Cumnick and team, Amber Stacy, Robin Forrest, and Jake Hansen for special thanks and recognition. Matt Hawkins stated this in his nomination. During our recent roofing project at the Academy building, we had the misfortune to be caught by a significant rainstorm, which led to major flooding within the Academy building. However, due to Heath Cumnick's tireless devotion to the county and his insomnia, and his own ability to worry at the right time, I added that insomnia part, and his ability to worry at the right time, the flooding was prevented from being much worse. Heath heard the rain that early Sunday morning and decided he needed to go check on the building and discovered the flooding around 3 a.m. Sunday morning. It is hard to imagine the level of impact that this rain event could have had if it weren't for Heath's decision to go check on the building that morning. Behavioral health would have been in a much worse state and struggled to find room to meet the needs of clients and our community. Heath acted quickly, calling as many team members in as possible. These team members are not expected to be on call, but they answered the call and arrived at the Academy building early in the morning on their day off and were ready to get to work. Because of their quick action, we were able to minimize the damage to the building. Our maintenance team often works behind the scenes with little recognition, but they play a huge role in providing for our community and deserve to be publicly acknowledged for going above and beyond. We are fortunate to have such dedicated employees. On behalf of the board, we are excited to recognize these 4 employees for the Star Recognition Award. And thank you. So please come forward.
Robin's getting to be a regular. Okay.
Oh, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything. Gotta get some sleep, dude.
Thank you.
Yes, perfect. Haven't seen you for a while.
Before.
Yeah.
Academy, what?
On the other side, Heath.
Backside.
How are you?
Oh,
Yeah.
picture time.
Good, haven't seen you in a while, so. Oh, yeah, you guys need pictures, I don't.
Now that we're all.
Squeeze in. I'm in the middle here. I'm using the front because I'm the shortest.
Well.
He's gonna be able to get us all in.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna take one more and then one that's like a little more zoomed in if they'll let me. Okay, ready? 1, 2. Got it. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Huh? Pretty good. I know. They keep me at Academy now.
Hey,
You guys,
you gotta get your dip.
Gotta get your stuff.
Candies, time for candies.
pretty heavy.
Is there enough for everybody?
I mean, devices we share.
Yeah, you guys.
I'd say
Hey,
the heavy
you guys.
ones. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you all for taking the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have non-listed items that our Public Works is here for, or no?
No, he was anticipating the gentleman that wrote the email. He was unable to. He just wanted
Just want to make sure not to keep you here unnecessarily. Okay. All right, next up is our Planning Commission interview. Jessica Blakely, please come forward.
He probably is going to show up tomorrow. Probably going to show up tomorrow. Good Wednesday meeting.
Good morning.
Good morning. So we have a list of questions and I'll start with number 1 and we'll go to Commissioner Mordhorst for number 2 and Commissioner Gordon for number 3, and then we'll repeat the cycle. And did you get these questions ahead of time?
I did,
Okay.
but I also brought some notes, so I might refer to those as well.
All right. So I'll start with, and you're here to be interviewed for Planning Commission. And maybe you should start with who you are, what you do, and why you're interested in this job.
Sounds great. I'm Jessica Blakely. I live here in Polk County. We moved here in 2017. Definitely had interest to be on the Planning Commission at that time, but was fairly new to the county. Right now, I work at the Housing Authority for the City of Salem, and I do our housing development, our affordable housing development. And I'm definitely interested because I live here and my family is here. They're here to support me today. But Polk County is really important to me. Eventually, I hope to be on the Board of Commissioners. And I think the Planning Commission is is very important in that, because you get to learn kind of the ins and outs of what's going on with the county in all the areas outside of just the city of Dallas where I live. But also, I think that I've grown a lot in the last 8 years, have really taken a different approach to land use and development. Most recently, joined the Rulemaking Advisory Committee for DLCD, which is working on the Oregon Housing Needs Analysis, so the housing production strategy work, the Goal 10 planning, basically. And so working through that process, I feel like I've brought some new things to the table that I think could be a benefit for the county. So I'm looking forward to explaining that in a little more detail.
Okay. All right. You ready for questions?
Ready.
Okay. So what do you consider the most important land use issues facing Polk County government over the next 4 years?
So I think population growth is is something that's going to really impact the county. Working through that housing needs analysis work and the housing production strategy work, really looking at housing as a whole. That's really is my main focus is in the housing world, but population growth, and then as it applies to the rural personality of Polk County. What will that look like? What do those land use decisions look like that are different than what I'm used to working within the city?
Okay.
You've pretty much already answered this one, but describe why you want to be on the County Planning Commission and what you hope to accomplish as a member.
Well, I think, of course, I live here, so it's very important to me. Kind of learning reading through the comp plan and kind of learning the personality of Polk County was very interesting too. So I think there's a lot of things that I align with there. But the future is what's important to me. My kiddo, has gone through all the schools here, and I'm hoping to stay here and grow our family, but hopefully in a grandkid kind of way. But just to be here long term. So that's why.
All right. Jessica, how would you define livability and quality of life? Very specific question.
I love this question, actually. I think for me, it's to work where you live. And I don't think that that's really possible for me right now. I think that it's unfortunate that a lot of folks can't live where they work. I know it was really profound. I don't remember if it was when my daughter was in Law Creole or right when she got to Dallas High. She had mentioned that, her teachers don't live here. And to me, that's an unfortunate circumstance of maybe some of those planning decisions of the past. So, my hope would be to be able to impact that a little bit more and to provide that quality of life because you live where you work and it kind of represents you and your voice, so.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, so what is your philosophy regarding private property rights and government regulations?
Well, I live in rural Polk County for a reason. Property rights are very important to me. So protecting private property rights is very much one of my values. And really that government should only regulate where necessary. So that is my value when it comes to that.
How do you feel that there is adequate protection for our farm and forest lands under existing land use laws?
Well, in reading through the comp plan, it was kind of difficult to ascertain some of those particular things because it seems like it's speaking of a long time in the past. It doesn't feel very updated. So, I think Oregon has some of the strongest farm and forest land protections. That's the goal 3 and goal 4. But that only works if it's maintained, updated, and consistently applied. So really, as someone who lives in Polk County, I definitely support all of the local agriculture and timber, but I believe these protections are essential to sustaining that economy and our rural identity. So I think it's very important. But I still think that I'm unclear 100% of what they all are because of maybe how outdated some of that information is in the comp plan.
So follow up to that. So you've used the word outdated or similar in a couple of spots there. So what would your solution to that problem be?
Well, one of the things that I looked for was the archives of some of the planning commission meetings and looking at some of those agendas and looking at maybe some of the outcomes, and they don't meet very regularly. So it's difficult to find some of those archived notes of what were those intentions, what was the planning commission facing, or maybe looking at some of the historical decision making that's taken place, and it's very difficult to find. So first of all, I would like to see, where is that really held? Where can I find that information and look back into some of those particular decisions? But maybe more regular meetings, maybe more access to folks in planning that could help answer some of those questions. It seems like some of the references in the comp plan, there are some sections that look like they've been updated more recently than others. And so really just kind of getting an idea of when those updates were made and then planning to meet as a group and visit them and really understand, like, when was this last addressed? Are these data points still relevant? And then kind of go from there. But I think more regular meetings would be a good place to start.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next question. You referenced a lot of the state planning goals. That's related to that. Do you feel that Polk County should be more restrictive than state laws and rules in its land use regulations? And if so, in what areas?
Well, I think generally the statewide goal is a good place to start. But I think there are some areas that Polk County is different. And so it might warrant more restrictions. And a couple of those would be wildfire risk areas, obviously with the timber. I know there's a mixture of public and private lands out there on the west side of the county. So I could see that being an area where there might be a need to be more restrictive. Floodplains, the high value farmland, and then of course the natural resources that are sensitive, like right next door to me, the basket slough, which is a very important area. So I could see those areas being a focus of being more restrictive, but alignment with state law also makes it a little bit more clear. So.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, based on your understanding of the statewide land use planning program, what would you change to make it better? And what would you change to make Polk County's land use laws better?
Okay, well, I think focusing on updating the comp plan would be great because then I could kind of get my bearings a little bit more. There are some areas that I kind of chuckled and I'm like, I don't think that that's been updated for a minute. One of the call outs on the housing page specifically says that while the free market functions well to meet the housing needs of households with annual incomes in excess of 15,000. I'm like, that must have been in the 90s, maybe. So definitely trying to get some of those data points a little bit more clear. But one of the things that working through that ONA process is that I think that Polk County as a whole maybe isn't aware that the cities have requirements now to create these housing production strategies. And they have to tell the state how they're going to meet their housing goals for their population growth and in what areas, what type of housing, the income levels, what that actually looks like. Well, so I went through and I looked at, what Monmouth, Independence, and Dallas have put out just to get an idea on whether or not the county is aligned with that. And they're talking about, switching land in and out of the UGB, and that's going to impact the county. So, have those conversations actually happened? I think that have the planning commission of the county actually engaged with the city planning commissions and understood what they've put and said to the state that they're going to do or come to the county to request. And so that would be, one of the places that I would like to see improvements in, is just that communication between the cities and counties. And are they working in alignment? Or is it going to be a surprise when they come to the planning commission and say, it's a part of our housing strategy to, maybe swap some land. So we're going to need land in, county land, and we want to swap this with the county. Is that going to be a surprise when that happens? Or are we already aware? So that would be one thing I'd like to see, because I couldn't find any reference to any work groups or work sessions or conversations. Maybe they have taken place, but I wasn't able to find them. So that I think would be one change that I would like to see happen.
Do you feel Polk County is doing a good or bad job in carrying out the state's land use laws and administrative rules? Please elaborate.
Okay. Well, I think overall, it looks like a good job. Hard to say, really. There's not a lot going on. I did go through some of the comments and the plans for the refuse transfer station in Rick Rial, and what's really transpired there. And it definitely it clearly aligns with the comp plan. There's actually a call out for it in the comp plan. And it appears as though a lot of the things have happened in the right way. I do see a lot of public comments about it. There's a lot of folks that feel that maybe the public process wasn't perfect. I'm not sure, I didn't get too in depth of all of those comments, but it does appear that Polk County is aligned with that. But I think there's still opportunity for growth. And that really comes through that updating the comp plan as a start.
All right. Final question, unless there are more from the board. Can you please describe your experience collaboratively working toward a solution to a complex problem with a diverse group? And what was your role?
Yes, definitely. Well, I think the one that's most impactful for this purpose is the DLCD's Rulemaking Advisory Committee. So that was a 2-year process. And I was chosen as an affordable housing developer perspective. And so I was able to participate not only on the larger Rulemaking Advisory Committee, but also provided feedback as a subject matter expert to the COWTAC group, which is the Capacity and Urbanization group. And then also worked on the Needs and Production Technical Advisory Committee, providing the development perspective. The list of folks that were in the room were state agencies, local governments, developers, housing advocates, planners, and community stakeholders, and they all had their goals. One of the people that I worked alongside with was 1,000 Friends of Oregon, for example, which I had no idea what they did or what their goals were. And so getting to really hear that, the feedback from their perspective and folks maybe with physical disabilities that were, feeling that accessible housing was not something that was a huge focus for the state. So really getting that diverse group of folks together and having those conversations about land use was very interesting. I didn't realize that there was so many different perspectives. So that definitely kind of changed my feeling from just being a housing developer and bringing that perspective only of how other folks might bring their work into that room. And I think that also, working on the board of directors for the West Valley Housing Authority for 8 years is another opportunity for me to work with that diverse group of clients, but also the staff and just getting their feedback, which really led me to apply for a job at a housing authority. And I've been there for a long time now. And so really it's focusing on that listening and the finding the common solutions, trying to help us all kind of move forward as a group. I think that's what I can bring to the table, especially in the space of housing.
So I'm going to throw a couple of more questions here.
Sure.
Based on your answers. I will tell you that on a couple of recent trips I've made down through Idaho and Nevada, Arizona, I couldn't be more grateful personally for Senate Bill 100 and all of the things that it has helped preserve in Oregon by comparison. The seemingly unchecked growth in those states outside of urban growth boundaries is stunning. And of course, I've been familiar with it through all of Central California for decades. You can't hardly travel anywhere except around Stockton in California without seeing blocks of homes outside of urban growth boundaries, if there is such a thing in California. Anyway, so I'm very interested to know what you see or what you think of Senate Bill 100 and what the state should do to make those changes. Additionally, I've been a big proponent of solving our drinking water and wastewater problem before we expand into the goals that you're very anxious to do. And we don't seem to do that very well in this state. We've put up a lot of new homes in a lot of places that are in serious water and wastewater problems. So can you tell me your philosophy on both Senate Bill 100 and this issue about wastewater and drinking water?
Well, I don't know that I really have as much experience with Senate Bill 100, but I can tell you just from my own experience of living on James Howe and having that subdivision really encroaching on our area, it definitely is a concern for both myself and my family. We live outside of the urban growth boundary for that reason. We like our privacy and our land. So I think that infrastructure is a huge issue. I hear a lot about kind of the past of Dallas, because there's a lot of folks that have lived here a long time that work at our agency, and they talk about just the struggles of the infrastructure in general. And then they keep building over by where I wasn't here when the drive-in was here, but down in that area. And then I also see the plans for the growth over on Ellendale and James Howe. And I think infrastructure is a huge challenge, and I don't really know the solution to that, but I do think that needs to be addressed before a lot of that housing takes place, because it's just a drain on the system overall. So I think there's a lot to learn in that space. I think there are other ways of building housing that could meet the goals of housing production, but also not strain the systems. There's middle housing, there's other opportunities for, ADUs. I know one of the things that we struggle with out in Ag 5 is that, we can't do multi-generational living there. And the the thing that we struggle with is that, you know, we have aging parents that we would like to move onto our property. And we have, you know, adult children that are struggling to meet the ability to even pay rent. I mean, my daughter's rent, well, all of our kids' rent is pretty much the same as our mortgage for just an apartment. And, you know, I find that there are better solutions to just all these subdivisions popping up everywhere. And one of those is the ADU opportunity. You know, if we could build another septic and another a sewer, like another septic system and another well on our property, we can move our parents onto our property and we can increase density in that way without putting a strain on any of the systems itself. So I think there are solutions out there, you know, similarly to this, where the private owners could be helping build that capacity and build that higher density on some of that ag land and meet their goals without, you know, bringing ADUs for new rentals or new other things in the county. So I think there are creative solutions. It just, we just need to come to the table and have those conversations. I am concerned about the infrastructure. I'm concerned about James Howe in general. You know, the amount of traffic that's increased on that dirt road is substantial and it's dangerous. And I think there are better ways to think about growth and kind of a cart before the horse situation. You know, are those subdivisions without that additional layer of planning? So I don't think I can answer your question specifically. I need to do more research on Senate Bill 100 and all of the implications of that. But I mean, I think I see that being a concern of mine and my family's, just being in a right outside of the urban growth boundary and seeing that encroachment.
Anything additional?
Oh, excellent.
Okay. Well, Jessica, thank you. I appreciate your coming in today. We will, after all of our interviews, we will deliberate and get you an answer.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Do we have any non-listed items?
No, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, we're adjourned.